There. Okay, can you hear me now? Can you hear me in the broadcast now?
Yeah, there.
Thank you.
What? Right, I'll leave you to it.
Okay, thank you, man. Thank you.
That's right.
All right, guys, sorry about that. We had to double up on this stream. There was a bit of audio issues in the first stream. So we are here at the Circuit of the Americas in Texas. This is TNR Tuesday Night Racing on LFR, Limitless Formula Racing. And we are just past halfway. We have about 6 minutes left in qualifying. As it is right now, we have Rabbi, who has set the fastest lap at 1:32.3, 1 minute 32.3, and he is currently in the pits, followed by Dr. Wolfgang, Tim Shapop, who is in the pits, King David, who is currently on an outlap. He's currently sitting in fourth place. Attic 722, who is in fifth. Big Weir, who's in sixth, who is just exiting the pit on his outlap. I'm assuming this would be his second outlap. Followed by the Bearded Dave, Stinos 96, Yo 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 Mio in ninth place, Apex Finley, who's currently sitting in 10th, ran a little wide there, King's Home, who is in 11th, Mr. Basil, who's in 12th, Nambidic in 13th. And sorry, Nambidic has just moved down to 14th as someone has moved up the qualifying charts. Beckett, who's in 15th, DxT Cons, who is in 16th, and Flea, who has not set a lap time as yet, who is currently in the pits. So we will see who is on track right now. Currently, we have Big Weir, who is on his outlap. And he will be looking to set a qualifying time on the medium tires. As he's just doing a little bit of weaving to get a bit of temperature into his tires. As he goes around the second last turn, followed by the final turn, and now we are on to the start of Big Weir's outlap. So here we are in the S section as a Red Bull gets way out of the way off of the track. And as it is right now, Big Weir has invalidated his lap, so we'll see who else we can move to. As there are a few cars who are about to come out of the pits. So we'll take a look at Addix, who's currently sitting in 7th place. He is currently sitting with a 132.9. Just under a tenth of a second behind Warren, who's sitting in 6th place, as Attix is starting his flying lap on the red-marked soft compound tires, as Flea has retired from the session and he has not set a lap time. Not too sure what was going on there. He's going to have to find it all when the race starts. So we are on board with Attix. Taking that very well as he heads into this looping right-hander, which is, it's a very long, slow turn. It's really hard to get it quite lined up to perfection, but he took that very well as he heads into the second last turn, looking to not run too wide outside. A little bit of oversteer, but he corrects it. Going into the final turn, hits the DRS, and he has moved up to 3rd place, setting a 132.6. That is a very good lap. He is only just over 2/10 off of the leader, who is Rabbi, who we will now jump on board with, as he is just warming up his tires. So we have 1 minute left in qualifying. Sorry, I should have had the full track map for you guys to view. As Rabbi is about to start his final flying lap. Which is headed into the S section, which goes left, then right, then left, and then another right, as Dr. Wolfang has retired and he's currently sitting in 2nd place with a pretty decent time. It'll be interesting to see if anybody does top him from the first row as Rabbi continues his lap, and King David has actually just put in a faster lap than Rabbi with a 132.218. As there are yellow flags ahead as Rabbi continues his lap. As hopefully we'll see the Ferrari of Beckett get out of the way, which he does. Into this long right-hander as Tim Shapop in the Aston Martin has now overtaken King David with a 132.109 for a pole position. As Stinos now, a blistering lap by Stinos with a 131.678, as Rabbi slots in just below Stinos with a 131.777. So he moves just ahead of Tim Shapop, just below Stinos to sit in 2nd place, as we'll see if there's anyone else who is on the flyer. Yo-Yo-Yo-Mio, who's currently sitting in 11th, is heading into the pits as he has abandoned his lap. And it seems as if everyone else has completed all of their laps. So this will be the starting order of the race. sorry, would this actually be Stinos? I'm not sure if he's doing another lap. I don't think he would be. He's probably headed into the pits right now. So as it is right now, we have Stinos96, who is in first with a 131.678, followed by Rabbi, third place, Tim Shapop, fourth, King David, fifth, Dr. Wolfgang, Atix in sixth, Big Weir seventh, Apex Finley in eighth, The Bearded Dave 26 ninth, Warren 78 in 10th, followed by Beckett, Yo-Yo Yomio, Nem Vidic, Mr. Basil. And unfortunately, I cannot see the remaining drivers on the list. Oh, now I can. So King's Home, DxT Cons, and Flea 1996. As we head into the race, and it seems like clear skies are going to be the prevalent conditions for this 28 lap race at COTA, the Circuit of the Americas. So just before this formation lap begins, we have 20 turns on this circuit, 2 DRS detection zones, one that is just after turn 10 on the long straight from turn 10 until you reach turn 11. And then finally, there is another DRS detection zone between turns 18 and 19, which then you'll be able to open your DRS after turn 20, heading into the beginning straight of the track. As the cars are now out on their formation lap, we are currently on board with Stinos. As we can see, the predicted pit stop strategy for soft runners, so it is looking like it's going to be a 2-stop. You can either go soft, soft, medium, or soft, soft, hard. Depending on what takes place in this race, some drivers may have to go on the hards earlier if there is any type of incident for those who are running on the softs, as opposed to medium runners. Once again, they can probably go a bit deeper into the race. If they do run into an incident, they can go to the softs. They can go to a double soft strategy, 2-stop, or they can go to the hards as well. So it will be interesting to see what these drivers will do, who will run long, who will decide that the 2-stop strategy is better. It would be interesting to see if there will be any 1-stoppers in this race. As Stinos is now headed for the long right-hander before he hits the final 2 turns of the circuit. So we have Stinos followed by Rabbi, Tim Shapop, King David, Dr. Wolfgang in 5th, Atix in 6th, Big Weir, Apex Finley, The Bearded Dave in 9th, Warren 78 in 10th, Beckett, Yo-Yo Yomio in 12th, Nem Vidic in the Mercedes in 13th, Mr. Basil 14th, King's Home 94 in 15th, DxT Cons in 16th, and Flea 1996 will be the last driver to form on the grid. As we're currently waiting for the lights. As it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 red lights, and away we are as Stenos heads off, and it seems as if Tim Shapop and King David are making moves on the inside. However, it is Rabbi that is currently still holding on to the lead in first, Stenos in second. Atix has moved up one position from 6th to 5th, as we are now on board with Stenos, who is following Rabbi, and there is a virtual safety car as Flea has made a bit of a hash of the first turn, as he will catch up to the likes of Kingsholm and Beckett. As the cars are still under virtual safety car speed restraints, we'll head up to the front of the field where we have Rabbi as we get a look to the rear to see what is going on behind them, as there's a bit of a gap that Stenos is leaving to him, although now he is beginning to catch up just ever so slightly. And it seems it is green lights, so the virtual safety car is over and the cars are back to racing. So Rabbi is currently in first position by 0.5 of a second ahead of Stenos, as there are yellow flags in Sector 3 as Nemvidic has gone for a bit of a spin. So we'll go back to the front of the field as Rabbi is currently sitting in first, followed by Stenos, King David, who is making up a bit of time on his Alpine teammate, as there are more yellow flags in Sector 3, and Nemvidic has spun once again, as Mr. Basil has now picked up a 3-second time penalty for track limit warnings. We are on board with Rabbi, who is almost out of DRS detection zone as it is. There is no DRS right now. However, at the beginning of the next lap, that is when the DRS will be able to be utilized by the cars who are within 1 second of the car that is ahead of them, as there are yellow flags in Sector 1, as it seems as if Flea has taken a bit of a spill. So Rabbi is currently in the lead, sitting in first place, as King David and Tim Shapop are currently battling right now as they go side by side, and Tim Shapop has overtaken King David, and Dr. Wolfang has a 3-second time penalty, as Rabbi has set the fastest lap of the race with a 1:36.099. However, King David is currently sitting in fourth place, who's looking to overtake Tim Shapop as he looks for a switchback into turn 1, and he is now on the left side of Tim Shapop, and we will see. And it seems as if King David, it's a virtual safety car. And Stenos has spun out. Stenos has spun out. So he was sitting in, I believe it was second place. He was just behind Rabbi. And now he has moved down to 7th place, as Tim Shapop has now taken second place in this race. He is currently approximately 4 seconds behind Rabbi, as we're under virtual safety car speed limits. So we have Rabbi at the front, who is going slow. However, he's keeping some temperature in his tires. And this is going to be interesting because Tim Shapop, who is in second place, although we are under virtual safety car speeds, King David is quite very close to Tim Shapop's rear as they are now, it is now green flags. They are back underway as Tim Shapop heads up the first turn or the straight to turn one as King David is right on his rear. As it seems as if Big Weir has headed into the pits. We'll just take a look and see as he is now on the yellow-walled medium tires. So an early pit stop for Big Weir. We'll see how he plans on doing this. He may potentially look to switch to the red wall softs at the end of near the end of the race to try and claw back some positions. As let's get back to the front of the grid as Rabbi has an approximate 3-second lead over Tim Shapop. And King David and Tim Shapop are currently side by side, and now King David has actually overtaken Tim Shapop. So King David is currently sitting in second place. So it is King David who is currently sitting in second place, just approximately 3 seconds behind Rabbi, as he is followed by Tim Shapop, Atix, who is in fourth place, Dr. Wolfang in fifth, Stenos in sixth, Apex Finley, who's in seventh, Warren 7878, who's in eighth, the Bearded Dave 26, who is in ninth place, as King David and Tim Shapop are going at it again. As they are going side by side into turn two, we will see what happens as Tim Shapop has overtaken King David to go into second place. As there are multiple 3-second time penalties that are being handed out as people are going a bit over the track limits, as Flea, who is being shown blue flags, is being overtaken by the second, third, quite a few drivers. The second, third, fourth, fifth, and all the way, I would say, back to King's Home, his teammate, who is currently in 12th place. So Flea is going to have quite a ways to go, or he's going to have to hopefully hope for a safety car to be able to get back into this race, as Tim Shapop is making his way around the long right-handers. As we will now look and see how DxT Cons is doing in the Ferrari, as Apex Finley gets a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings of track limits, as DxT Cons is approaching the rear of the Bearded Dave 26. So these two are battling for 9th position as it stands. And we'll just stay on board for a little while to see how this battle turns out, as the Bearded Dave goes a wee bit wide on that right-hander, which will give DxT Cons a bit of motivation to get on the back of the Bearded Dave to try and overtake him on this DRS straight. So we will see the Bearded Dave does have DRS off of Warren, who's ahead of him. However, the DxT Cons, who's in 10th, is coming up to his rear wing as Flea has left the session. And Yo Mio has also DNF from the session, as DxT Cons makes a bit of contact on the rear of the Bearded Dave. I'm not sure if that would have caused any damage. We will see as this lap progresses. If there's any sort of understeer. Oh, and DxT Cons has oversteered into the wall. So maybe, just maybe, that contact with the bearded Dave may have caused him a bit of an issue as he oversteered going through that long right-hander, and he is now in 12th place as he goes into the pits, as we are now on board with Atix 722, who's currently sitting in 4th place, and he is following just behind King David, who is currently sitting in 3rd place. So it will be interesting to see the type of run that Atix will get on King David as they head into this turn, and Atix will be able to enable his DRS as King David tries to break the toe. DRS is wide open for Atix as he is approaching the left side of King David. King David moves over to the left a little bit to try and defend. However, it seems so, maybe not so. It seems as if Atix had that move done. However, King David got a bit better traction and was able to defend his 3rd place position, as this is the closest battle currently on the track. As DxT Cons is hit with a 3-second time penalty, as King David has dove into the pits. Let's see what this is a relatively early pit stop, so let's see what he goes on to. It's another pair of soft tires for King David. And now we see Stino. So that would mean, yes, so there was a bit of a double stack with the Alpine team. So Stinos may have lost out on a few seconds in the pit lane as King David was just coming out of his pit stop. So Stinos has had, aside from the early blunder that he had at the beginning of the race, he has had some pace. So we will see what he is able to do as he is currently on the yellow-walled medium tires. So we will check back in a bit to see how Stinos is faring, currently sitting in 12th place, as it seems as if Atix, I'm not sure if that, there is yellow flags in sector 2, so, and it would seem as if that was DxT Cons. However, I believe Atix just made an overtake on Dr. Wolfgang. As well, King's Home has spun it, and he is in the grass. So he's going to have to keep those tires cooled, and he has Warren, who is just approaching him right now, who he is able to stay ahead of, and ooh, both King's Home and Warren have spun it, as it seems as if Warren could not avoid the spinning King's Home in the AlphaTauri. So we will be seeing King's Home headed into the pits, most likely for a front wing change, as he is doing a bit of a dance as he enters the pit lane. So both King's Home and Warren 7878 are in the pits. We will go back to the racers as King David and Tim Shapop are currently battling it out for 5th position. We will ride on board with Tim Shapop as he will be getting DRS down this straight, as DxT Cons has been hit with another 3-second time penalty. And he is now out of the race as well, as Tim Shapop has now overtaken King David for 5th place in this race on lap number 9. And King David staying relatively close to Tim Shapop. We'll see what happens as they go through the final turn of this circuit and see if potentially King David can make an overtake. However, it does seem as if Tim Shapop is breaking away ever so slightly, as we have Dr. Wolfgang, who has entered the pits and is now on I believe this would be another pair of soft tires. And we have Rabbi, who is just coming out of the pits, and he just avoids King David. So he is on the medium tires as Stino sets the fastest lap of the race. So I did say that we would keep an eye on Stinos. He has moved from 12th position to 9th position as Mr. Basil has DNF'd from the race. And let us see if we... So it would be... Must have been around somewhere around turn 2 that he most likely lost control of the car. I'm not sure if he may have hit anyone. However, he is out of the race. Oh no, he is parked on the right side, so it's most likely he has crashed out of this race. So Beckett now moves into 10th place in the Ferrari, as we will now go back to this fight that is currently happening between Tim Shapop, King David, and Rabbi. So they would be in 3rd, 4th, and 5th place respectively. However, it seems as if Tim Shapop is building a bit of a gap as, of course, he sets the fastest lap. So Tim Shapop is on the charge, and he will be hunting down Apex Finley, who is currently right on the tail of the bearded Dave 26. So as long as Apex can stay within 1 second of the bearded Dave, he will have DRS, which will help him with his time, as Tim Shapop is currently gaining quite a bit of time on Apex Finley. However, we will move down to 7th position, and that is Dr. Wolfgang, who is just right on the rear of Big Weir, who is currently sitting in 6th place, and it will be DRS opening for the McLaren of Dr. Wolfgang. As the red light of Big Weir is flashing, he may be a little bit low on ERS, and Dr. Wolfgang has taken 6th place on Big Weir. And we will move to the driver, who is just about 3.5 seconds ahead of Dr. Wolfgang. That would be Rabbi, who is currently trailing King David, who is in 4th place, as we see the bearded Dave, who was running in 1st place. He has now entered the pits. And Rabbi is on the back of King David. However, he cannot get close enough, even with the DRS. Dr. Wolfgang, who is currently behind him, has just set the fastest lap, and he is running ablaze, about to catch up to, or attempt to catch up to the back of Rabbi, going through this S section, as he has made up about 2 to 3 tenths just in this first sector. So we will now move, oh my, and it is a battle for 1st place. We will go to Tim Shapop, who has now been overtaken by King David. However, it is Tim Shapop going around the right. We will see if King David can make it stick. They are both side by side. Tim Shapop going around the right side. He will be now on the outside, which is disadvantageous to him. However, he does go for the switch pack. Tim Shapop is now in first place. We will see if he can make it stick on the outside of King David as they both go into this second last turn of the circuit, and it is Tim Shapop who unfortunately has picked up a 3-second penalty. However, he is now in the lead of this race on lap 13 as we now have Rabbi who is trying to go around the outside of King David. Better traction for Rabbi. He is now in second place. He is now hunting down Tim Shapop, whose red light is flashing. That would mean ERS is running a little bit low. We will see what Rabbi can do. King David following Rabbi in third place. And in fourth, Dr. Wolfang is making his way up as Stinos has been hit with a 3-second time penalty. I am just going to go to the details of this race to see how the penalties are shaping up right now. So, Dr. Wolfang, who is currently, it would seem, is the fastest man on the track, as we will go to the now second place Rabbi, who has just been overtaken by Tim Shapop. These two are battling it out for that first place position. Tim Shapop is going to try and want to make it stick, as he does have a 3-second time penalty. So he is going to try and put the pedal to the floor and make his way away from Rabbi, who is in second place behind him. Nemvidic has been hit with a 3-second time penalty. He is currently sitting in 13th position in the Mercedes. So it is Tim Shapop, followed by Rabbi, King David, Dr. Wolfang in fourth, Big Weir in fifth, Stinos in sixth, Atix in seventh, the Bearded Dave 26 in eighth, Apex Finley, who is currently sitting in ninth place in the Haas, Kingsholm 94 of the AlphaTauri, who is the last points position in 10th, followed by Warren, Beckett, and Nemvidic, who are in 11th, 12th, and 13th, respectively, as the DNS for this race are Mr. Basil, DxT Cons, Flea 1996, and Yo 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 Mio of the Mercedes. As Tim Shapop, my apologies for that, Tim Shapop, who is in first place, 3-second time penalty to his name, so he will, as it stands right now, he would currently be sitting in third position, as Dr. Wolfang does have a 6-second time penalty. Dr. Wolfang, who is just over a second and a half behind King David in third place, is trying to join these top 3 runners in this race, as Nemvidic is hit with another 3-second time penalty. We are just over halfway done this race, and King David is on the rear going through this S section of Rabbi, about 3/4 of a second behind Rabbi. We will see if he can make any more headway. That's a bit of a loss of traction for Rabbi as he headed into that turn. However, now he has a DRS wide open, and he will be looking to use that advantage in having that rear wing being open to get a bit closer to Tim Shapop in the Aston Martin, who is currently in first place, as it would seem as if King David may have made a little bit of an error, as he is now just outside of DRS range of Rabbi ahead of him, who is in second place. So let's see, we will head down to Apex Finley, who is currently sitting in 9th place. He is just behind the Bearded Dave, who is in 8th place. Just behind Atix, we will see, and we have yellow flags in Sector 1, and that would seem as if it's Nemvidic, as he is the only Mercedes that is left in this race. I'm not sure what happened. Maybe a retirement by Nemvidic, and that's what it would seem. So we will head back to the front of the field as Tim Shapop is still... Oh, sorry, Nemvidic. Most likely, my apologies, that's most likely blue flags for Nemvidic. It is not a retirement for him. He is getting multiple track limit warnings. I'm not sure what's happening there. I'm assuming because he is trying to get out of the way of the drivers who have lapped him. As we will now move to Apex Finley, who has his DRS wide open as he is headed for the Bearded Dave. The Bearded Dave does have his DRS wide open as he is currently just behind Atix, who's in 6th place. We'll ride on board with Apex Finley, who seems to be getting a bit closer, and he has gone for that. That is a cheeky move, Mr. Apex, but you have done it, and you are now in 7th place. As Stinos gets another 3-second time penalty, so that would be his second. He currently has 6 seconds worth of time penalties. We will go back up to the man who's in 2nd place. King David is making a move on the Bearded Dave. We will see, and yes, he has overtaken the Bearded Dave, headed into turn 1. So a bit of a battle brewing. Apex Finley is in 7th place. However, he does have 6 seconds worth of time penalties, so he will be dropping down the field. So as it stands right now, King David would be the 7th place position as it stands right now. However, we move to the front of the field as Rabbi, with his DRS wide open, has now overtaken Tim Shapok. And we will see. Let us look at the tires. So everyone has made one stop except for, of the top 10, everyone has made one stop except for King David, who has made 2 stops. And he is currently on his initial lap with the medium tires, as there's yellow flags in Sector 1 that would be Nemvidic. This may be a retirement this time. As Tim Shapop and Dr. Wolfgang have entered the pits, we will see what Tim Shapop moves on to. He moves on to the yellow-walled medium tires, as well as Dr. Wolfgang, so they will come out in... Well, Atix is coming up this straight, and Atix, and that is mighty close. However, a bit of an oversteer for Atix, and that actually, I believe, King David made an overtake there. However, Tim Shapop, this is mighty close, as Apex Finley gets a 3-second time penalty, so he now has 9 seconds worth of time penalties. However, we will ride on board with King David, as there are 3 cars within DRS range of each other, looking to get to that 4th place position. This is 4th, 5th, and 6th, as Tim Shapop tries to run down the inside of King David, and he has made it stick. However, King David, with the overtake again of Tim Shapop. However, we go back. This is back and forth overtakes that are taking place between Tim Shapop and King David. Tim Shapop, who is on 1 lap newer tires, has made it stick, and now he is in 4th place. This will be an interesting battle between Tim Shapop, King David, Apex Finley, and Atix, as well as Dr. Wolfgang, who has joined. So we have 5 cars who are within 6/10 at the least of each other ahead. As the Bearded Dave, he's running on a bit older tires, so it may be a bit of a struggle for him to catch up to the 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th and 8th position runners. However, we'll see what he can do. As I say it, it seems as if he is going to catch DRS from Dr. Wolfgang ahead. So let us ride on board with him. Did he get DRS? Yes, he did. So he will be using that extra speed to his advantage to try and catch up to Dr. Wolfgang. We will now look at Rabbi, he has quite a comfortable lead, a 12-second lead. He has only stopped once. It would be interesting to see if he's going to go to the end of the race on these medium tires. However, he is currently sitting well ahead of Stinos, who is in 2nd place, as Big Weir enters the pits. So Stinos overtakes Big Weir for 2nd place in this race, as well as Tim Shapop, King David, Apex Finley, Atix, Dr. Wolfgang, and the Bearded Dave. Let us see. So Big Weir has gone onto a set of red-walled soft compound tires. So we will see if he can make any headway and catch up towards the Bearded Dave, who is, as I say his name, he gets a 3-second time penalty, and his medium tires are 7 laps old. Although they will be able to withstand a bit more of the harshities of this track, it would seem as if Big Weir will be able to catch him. We will see what happens in the upcoming laps as we head up to King David, who is currently sitting in 4th position, as Rabbi, who is currently in 1st place, now gets a 3-second time penalty. So that would be his first accumulation of a grouping of 3 track limit warnings that would give him a 3-second time penalty. However, he is comfortably in 1st place, as we are now on board with Dr. Wolfgang in the McLaren, currently in 7th place. And he is behind Atix, and Atix is behind Apex Finley. Atix will have DRS headed up this start straight as Apex Finley goes very defensive, headed towards the left side of the track. And Atix does get the overtake on him. However, Apex Finley did try a switchback. It was not successful, as Apex Finley gets a track limit violation. That would be his 4th grouping of 3, which gives him 12 seconds of penalties in this race. It's going to be interesting to see how all of these times measure out by the time we get to the end of the race. These drivers are really going to have to push, because these penalties are going to hinder some and be advantageous to others. As we see, Apex Finley heads down the right side of Atix, DRS wide open, and he makes the overtake, going into 4th position, as Atix follows him in 5th. Dr. Wolfgang, who's currently sitting in 6th, is right on the tail of Atix as they head into this left-hander just before they hit the long swooping right-hander that is just before the second last turn of this course. Ooh, and a bit of oversteer from Dr. Wolfang. Didn't seem as if it affected him too much as he opens his DRS. Going down this start straight as Big Weir has set the fastest lap of the race with a 1:34.053. As Atix and Apex Finley, and Atix has binned it and he has gone into the wall. Careful with your rejoin as he, with his tires being a bit heated, he has now moved down to 9th place. Tack on another 3-second penalty for him, and that is not going to help him on his bid as he was battling quite a bit with, I believe it was King David and Dr. Wolfgang, as we are now on board with King David, who is currently on the rear of Rabbi, who is in the Haas, currently sitting in Rabbi 16, currently sitting in 2nd position. As King's Home 94 has gotten his first 3-second time penalty of the race. He is currently sitting in 10th position as King David has just lost a bit of time to Rabbi. That is interesting. Oh, okay, so Rabbi, who he must have just pit, or this would be currently his first full lap on these soft marked tires. He has pulled away from King David in quite a short amount of space, as there are yellow flags in sectors 2 and 3, and that is King's Home, who is in the wall and currently stationary. So he seems to be getting just back up to speed. As we now we will actually head to the 6th position as Stenos, right on the rear of Big Weir. Bit of a tongue twister, that one, as Stenos overtakes Big Weir for 5th position on the track. As Big Weir looks to the inside, cannot make the move stick, and Stenos has planted himself in 5th position and will be looking ahead at Dr. Wolfgang, who is currently in 4th position, as we will now move to Rabbi, who is in 2nd position, and we will see, yes, he has his DRS open. A few time penalties handed out. I believe that was Big Weir and Apex Finley, both getting 3-second time penalties. Rabbi currently right behind Tim Shapop, as King's Home has retired from this race. Tim Shapop has gotten himself a 3-second time penalty. That will leave him at 6 seconds worth of penalties. So as it stands right now, Rabbi does have the net P1 position in this race, and he is looking for the outright P1 position, as he has now overtaken Tim Shapop, who is in the Aston Martin car, who is now in 2nd place. And as it stands right now, he would be net P2, as he does have 6 seconds worth of time penalties. However, it would seem King David would need to make up about 1.7-ish seconds in order to be able to snag that 2nd place position from Tim Shapop. It seems as if, I'm not sure what happened here, however, it seems as if Big Weir did overtake Dr. Wolfgang to go into 5th position. And we will see what Big Weir can do. A bit of a slide coming out of that last turn did not hinder him too much. We'll see as he has his DRS wide open. Will he be able to make the move? Not close enough. As we'll ride on board with Dr. Wolfang, taking this S section quite well, as he has made up about a tenth on Big Weir ahead of him. As Atix has retired from this race, and it seems as if he has, yes, he has crashed out of this race just before the second last turn on this circuit. So that is unfortunate for Atix. He was running in the points positions, and now he is out of the race, as we will head down to Dr. Wolfang, who is currently sitting in 6th position. And we will see if he can get the traction that he needs in order to be able to make it within 1 second of Big Weir, who's in 5th place ahead of him. I am not too sure if he did. Ooh, and a bit of a snap of oversteer for Dr. Wolfang. I am not sure if he made it to the DRS line in time. He did not. So the DRS will not be open for Dr. Wolfang, as he is currently behind Big Weir, who is in 5th place, trailing Stinos, who is in 4th. And we'll look at the tires. So Big Weir is on 1 lap older tires than Stinos ahead of him. We will see if that is any sort of hindrance to him, as we will see if he makes it to... No, he will not be getting DRS from Stinos ahead of him. However, Stinos is now catching up to King David, and Stinos will have the DRS for this first DRS zone of this track, and we will see how much he can catch up. He does catch King David. He catches up a little bit. However, he is still about 6/10 behind King David, who is currently in P3. However, it seems as if Stinos is making up quite a bit of time on these slow sections of this track, as we will head to 10th place, as Beckett is now making up some time on Warren, and he is looking to have a bit of a look on the inside. Not enough speed to be able to make that work, as there is yellow flags in Sector 3, and that is the Bearded Dave, who has had a bit of a moment. So the Bearded Dave has now moved down to 8th position, as Apex Finley heads into the pits, and he was only on 2-lap-old tires. This is an interesting situation, as Apex Finley heads out of the pits. He will be in 8th position with fresh tires. He may be going for the fastest lap, actually, as there are 2 laps remaining, as we are on the second last lap of this race. As we are on board with Warren 7878, as he has DRS and he is approaching Beckett. We will go to Big Weir, as he is on the rear of King David on those soft mark tires. We will see if he is having any sort of struggles, as this circuit does take quite a bit out of these tires, and as you can see, there is a bit of understeer as he goes into that second last turn. DRS wide open for Big Weir. We will see if he can make a move on King David. King David goes left, trying to defend, as that was and he did miss his braking point just a bit as King David retakes fourth position off of Big Weir. They go through these S sections. We will see. Not a good camera, so we will stay on board with Big Weir as he stays very close to King David. Let's update or take a look at the penalty standings. So, as it stands right now, these two would be battling for on track. It would be fourth position with the penalty of Stenos. This would technically be the final position of the top three drivers. So they will be battling it out as they are on this current final lap. And we will see as Rabbi heads into turn one as he has run a brilliant race and he finishes this race in first place as Tim Shapop. What happened? And Stenos. It was past the finish line, so we don't have to worry about that. As Tim Shapop comes home in second place, King David third, Stenos in fourth, Big Weir comes home in fifth place, Dr. Wolfbang in sixth, the Bearded Dave, as he heads into this final turn, will be coming home in seventh position. We'll ride on board with Apex Finley as he does get himself another time penalty, currently 18 seconds worth of penalties. However, with the fastest lap of the race, he does finish in 8th position. He should be staying in 8th as Beckett is heading for the second last and final turn of this race, as he will be finishing in 9th position as Warren is right behind him in 10th place. And there you have it, folks. That was our race today for TNR. Tuesday night racing. We were at Austin, Texas at the Circuit of the Americas. Brilliant race by all of these drivers. As we have Rabbi, who finishes in first place in the Haas, followed by Tim Shapop in the Aston Martin, King David in third place for Alpine, Stenos in fourth place for Alpine. So that is a very good performance by both Alpine drivers. Big Weir, Alfa Romeo in fifth place, Dr. Wolfgang, McLaren in sixth, the Bearded Dave in seventh, Apex Finley of Haas in eighth, Beckett, who was in the Ferrari in ninth place, and Warren 7878, who rounds out the points positions in 10th place. And as for the rest of the drivers, the ones who unfortunately did not finish the race, we have Atix, Kingsholm, Nem Vidic, Mr. Basil, DxT Cons, Flea 1996, and Yo 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 Mio. Brilliant racing by these guys. That was a very entertaining race. So as we have finished this race at the Circuit of the Americas for Tuesday night racing on Limitless Formula Racing, I would like to thank everyone who has tuned in, and I would like to thank the drivers. Brilliant racing by everyone. This was a great race, and we look forward to next week's race. Unfortunately, I'm not too sure where it is, but be sure to tune in. It will be at 7:30 p.m. UK time next week, Tuesday. Thank you to everyone who has tuned in. Thank you to the drivers. Very good race. And with that, I bid farewell. Take care.